Hello, everyone, and welcome to United Way. Live United. I'm Terry Westerfield, and joining me today, I have friends in from Family Service of Greater New Orleans. I want to welcome to the program Mr. Ron McLean. Ron is the president and CEO of Family Service of GNO. Welcome, Ron.
Good morning, Terry.
I am so glad you're here, and Julie's with us today as well. Julie Pattison, who is the Director of Development for Family Service of Greater New Orleans. Welcome, Julie.
Good morning, Terry.
We know, for those of you who are joining us today, Family Service of Greater New Orleans has been serving family and community since 1896. Think about that. Whew, that's a while. And it's one of United Way of Southeast Louisiana's community impact partners or partner agencies. Family Service of Greater New Orleans is a nonprofit organization, and it is dedicated to providing counseling and community education to families in need. Its mission is to strengthen the emotional health and foster the self-sufficiency of families and individuals. And I have to tell you what, it's always nice to know that you folks, we all share a building, and you've got wonderful people working there who do so much for our community, for all the different individuals. I always think back, and I know that we've had this discussion in the past, Ron, where it used to be, oh, no, nobody wanted to talk about the need for counseling.
Right.
It just, oh, you couldn't. And I think it goes way back to, I want to believe it was Rosalind Carter who started talking about mental health is something we need to. Everybody needs a little help sometime, and they need to talk with someone. And here you have professionals who do an amazing job of really rebuilding someone's health and their life.
Yes, Terry, and we've been doing it for quite some time. In fact, we've been operating for 118 years in New Orleans and the surrounding area, providing high-quality services to families and children in need. And behavioral health services, counseling, substance abuse work, social services that has been needed for a long time in this community. But now it's needed probably more than ever, Terry, with the the hurricanes and its aftermath, and also the level of community violence here really speaks to the need for support for families. We're about building stronger families. One way to do that is to provide high-quality counseling services.
And I know that we've also spoken in the past, there's still so many folks out there, pardon me, who came back following the storms, but a lot of young adults or youth without their parents, without guardians, and they're out there, they're alone. They need help sometimes, and it's reaching out to them, getting them to understand it is available.
It is, and unfortunately, many people are still somewhat reluctant to come forward and access counseling and mental health services. And we want to say loud and clear, it really is a strength to recognize the need for support and to reach out and get that support. And Family Service and other United Way agencies are here. We've been here for quite some time, and you can access our services very easy. The easiest way, obviously, is to call 211. And if you call 211, they'll get you in contact with Family Service as well as other support services that you might need. We do have a direct number, 822-0800, and we're there for families all over this community. But we also work in Jefferson and St. Bernard and Plaquemine parishes.
And I was going to say, I've known you for so long, and Julie and all the good folks, I always say downstairs, at Family Service. But you talk about keeping the whole family together, and it's a holistic approach, because I know the counseling, but as you just mentioned, you work hand in glove with other United Way partner agencies and other community service agencies out there,
yes, because
the counseling sometimes is just, quote, the tip of the iceberg.
That's right.
And something that could be causing their anguish, their angst, that they're coming and finally finding someone they can talk to. It's often related to a lot of other things that may be going on. Maybe they've lost their job.
Well, absolutely.
Maybe they're grieving for a loved one. There's the multitude of things out there.
Well, we're about strengthening families, and we know that families do much better when both parents are employed, when families are able to take care of their children, and oftentimes, families are not employed, and families have other issues where counseling could strengthen that family and make it more likely that once they take care of those issues, they'll be able to get a job. And education is so critical these days, Terry, for just ongoing well-being of both children and families. And many of our children have baggage that makes it very difficult for them to benefit from education. And counseling helps tremendously with children working through their issues and their challenges. And a lot of times those challenges come from home and the community. And if we're able to work with those children, they do much better in school.
All right, but now you have some small children, young children here. They know something's wrong, but maybe they can't articulate it. Maybe they don't know whom to talk to. So are there teachers who are trained? Are there other personnel or that you work with or you hear from so that you know that if this children is suffering, they can come in, they can get services?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, our Children's Mental Health Center at Family Service works with not only the children and their families, but we also work with school site personnel, teachers, coaches, others who interface with children in an effort to help them understand positive behavioral supports and to be vigilant so that there are any issues that they see, they can refer to our organization. And it's important for us to kind of get support from the community in a variety of ways to keep up this great work. And we do have an event, a fundraising event coming up in October, and I'd like Julie Patterson to talk a little bit about our gala that'll be coming up in October.
Thank you, Ron. We have it's our signature event that raises a significant amount of money for the organization. And it's easy for me to raise money for an organization that I am so passionate about. I personally have been affected by violent crime. I know families who have been affected by violent crime. But our families are dealing with the stresses of poverty, of income, of violence within their own families, domestic violence, abuse, and they need a place to go. And if I'm not raising the money, they have no place to go. So we have this gala coming up, and every year it's one of the oldest galas in the city. It is probably the oldest, if not the second oldest nonprofit, founded in 1896. And this will be our 41st gala. We honor 10 outstanding persons each year from the community based on their community service and their giving back to the community. We have an outstanding list this year of honorees. We have Charlotte Bollinger, and you may know her from the Bessie Board. She's a former teacher. She's active in organizations for children. Darlene Kuzanza, president of Crime Stoppers. Clara Satanovich, and what Dragos has done for this community, especially after Katrina. John Hollowell, and what Shell has done to significantly impact the city.
I have to put a plug in. John is our chairman of the board for the United Way, so I think we all admire him and all that he has done for this community.
And John's take on family service is from an economic standpoint. Mm-hmm. As a city, we have to be healthy, and that primarily is our mental health at all levels. Bob Merrick has quietly been a force in this city for 25, 30 years, quietly giving away his time, his financial resources, and his support for the city. Sheriff Noel Normand and what he is doing with kids, his Young Marines program and his band, and what he's doing to give back to kids and make this community stronger. Terrence Osborne with his work with CASA. Alan Phillipson has been a force with Greater New Orleans Foundation, United Way agencies for a long time in helping to raise the money to support the community. Pamela Ryan is an arts activist. If you talk to anyone at the Arts Council, they will know who Pamela Ryan is. And finally, in alphabetical order, is Cheryl Teemer. And Cheryl has come from a family that she's part of 3-4 generations of activists in this community to preserve families, children. She's active in the homeless community to raise awareness, and we are honored to honor all of these.
Yes, these are 10 outstanding individuals, and we're proud to say that for the last 41 years we've been able to recognize outstanding individuals. This year's group is especially important in the work that they have done and also the work that they continue to do. Julie, can you tell us about where this event will be held and what are some of the things that will happen that night?
Absolutely. The event is annually held in October. This year it'll be October 22nd at the Pavilion of Two Sisters. It will be a patron party and dinner event. Each of the honorees will be recognized and speak to the people there about why they believe community service is important. And we want everyone to come out to the event. You can go to our website at www.f like family, s like service, gno.org, and click on the Give Hope icon and purchase tickets or sponsorships for the event. The funds raised from this goes directly to our programs, many that Ron has talked about, that's helping families and children overcome the stresses in their lives.
And Julie, I just want to give a huge shout out to First NBC and Ashton Ryan, our signature sponsors. The First NBC came in at $25,000 this year, and we're very, very pleased and appreciative of the support from Ashton Ryan and First NBC Bank this year, our signature sponsors for this year's gala.
Absolutely. And this is the first year that we've had that level of sponsorship. And it's because the community is becoming more and more aware of the programs of family service and what we do in this community.
And they are. They're a necessity. There are so many things that without the opportunities that you present for the individuals and the families to come together and remain healthy in their outlooks, and as they grow, this community needs that to be stronger. And that goes back to what you said when John Hollowell of Shell says it's about economy. I mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of things that Family Service and United Way, we're economic engines.
That's
because
right.
If we can help the health of the community, if we can make sure that good education leads to a good job, leads to good health,
That's right.
then you're going to have a good business base.
That's
and people
right.
want to come here, work here, and stay here.
Stronger families make stronger communities, and we really need a stronger community here. And I think there's a lot of efforts out there supporting a stronger community, and Family Services right up there with them. And certainly we couldn't do anything. We couldn't do this work, Terry, without the support of United Way. We're United Way partner agency, and at this point, United Way is our largest single source of funding. And so we know that United Way campaign is right around the corner, right kicking off, and we want to encourage everybody to support United Way and do what you can when somebody comes to ask you to make a donation to United Way, because when you do that, you support Family Service and hundreds of other agencies and programs.
And they're also important to this area. And I want to talk a little bit more about your programs because you have so many. I'm sitting here, general counseling, anger management group, community-based counseling, functional family therapy,
Yes.
victims of crime. I'm going to stop there because we have even, I said I'm going to stop, and no, NOLA Dads, a phenomenal
Dads
program.
is a fantastic
Children's Mental Health Center, active parenting, family mediation, and substance abuse assessment. All those things, again, they're all related in some way. And if you can get the help at Family Service, keep that family together, you're going to be on your way to a much, much better life.
Yes.
And NOLA Dads is something that I think speaks to a lot of folks. It really does. It's an important
It
important
really
program.
is. It is a program that we're very, very proud of because it meets it responds to one of the more significant needs in our community. We work with young men who are fathers or potential fathers and help them understand the necessity to be committed to their children 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We use an evidence-based curriculum from the National Fatherhood Initiative, and it's been proven to be effective. And so these young men come to us, and we work with them going through the parenting curriculum, but we also provide case management, help them find jobs, help them take care of other issues that they might have. And we know that young men, specifically young urban males, are both victims and perpetrators of much of the violent crime in our community. And so our work is directly related to responding to the need to have a safer community and also have men become more involved in their families, particularly raising and supporting their children.
And that goes back to having that father figure or that stronger male figure in your life and being able to all the research, and I see you smiling. You're just reading ear to ear, and this is such a wonderful program.
It is, and it is. I mean, research indicates that children fare much better when both parents are involved with their children, whether they're together or not. And our commitment, obviously, is to work on building stronger families and helping children. We can't do this without having very substantive, deliberate services directed toward men. And it's still consistent with our mission. Our mission is to strengthen emotional health, but also to foster self-sufficiency. Terry, we'd like nothing other than, and better, there's no better thing that could happen if we worked ourselves out of a job. If we work so hard that these issues, these social ills that we respond to are no longer a major concern in our community. And that's what our commitment has been for 118 years.
And there are a lot of issues that need to be overcome, and I look at two that go hand in glove here too, and that's the substance abuse assessment and Orleans Parish Drug Court. Unfortunately, we keep hearing about drugs on the rise again. Not only on the rise, but some very scary things. Heroin, black tar heroin coming back, and other drugs that we thought, wow, they've at least gone underground, disappeared. There's not many. When it rises its head, we see productivity go out. Then again, families don't have the leaders they need. There are children affected.
And we see a lot of increases in violence, like we experienced a couple of weeks ago on Burgundy Street in the Lower Ninth Ward, which was a horrible, horrible incident that we hope that that can be few and far behind. We hope that that those kind of incidences will no longer, will no longer be threats in our community. And we know we have to do a lot of work. Police department have to do work, and they've responded by arresting at least 3 individuals. But this is about families responding to the needs of their children and communities embracing children in such a way that we're protecting our children from exposure to violence of this sort. And we all have to work together to make those realities come true.
And as we're working towards those goals, there's also help that needs to be given, and you're right there, Family Service of Greater New Orleans, with your program involving victims of crime, because whether you're a small child who's witnessed some unthinkable crime, up to a grandmother, the mother, a neighbor down the street, we all get affected by it.
That's right, and we serve every victim of crime free of charge. We do get some money from the City of New Orleans through the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee. It's federal funds from VOCA, the Victims of Crime Act. And so we are able to serve victims of crime without any cost to the person who's coming in for services. So please, if you have any issues, any needs, come to us. We can provide the help that you need.
And I know I'm taken back by what Julie said earlier, that she does this, and I'm thinking, with the last name Pattison, I'm passionate. I'm thinking passionate Pattison and all the work that you do. But you said it's easy to go out and make the case because of all the good things that the Family Service does for the community.
That's right, Terry. I've always felt like I'm the voice for that child, that mother, that father. I can give you one example. We have a child who witnessed a tragic event in his family. It was a car crash, and he was dealing with this. And then one day, his mother took him to a parade, a Mother's Day parade, and there was a shooting. And even though the child and the mother were not injured, it sent him back into remission, but he's still with us. And that's one child, one family, one shooting incident, when hundreds are affected by one gunshot, one incident, one fight. Everyone around is frightened, is scared, and we're a place to go. We are that refuge. And when I go into the community and I talk to them, I am their voice. And so I have to go. And so please, if you can donate, please give to Family Service.
I've often thought about the price of one bullet. Wow. Not only possibly taking someone's life, but what you've just said, everyone who was near there, everyone who may have seen it, heard about it, lost a loved one, had a friend, and it goes on, and it's just, when you kind of throw the pebble, the rock in the lake, and then it comes out, and that's what it is. It is so far-reaching. It's never just one-on-one individual kind of action.
It's so right. It shatters so many people's sense of security, and my hope is that that it doesn't shatter faith, because it's important for us to believe that we can pull ourselves out of this, believe that our town could be better, and when we believe it, we work hard to make this city, this town, this community a better place. And my hope, again, is that we're motivated to make this town a better place when we see incidences like those being described here.
Well, I know that we're talking now about some of the more heinous crimes and of recent. Now, when children, adults, whomever are involved in those and have been victims of, are the courts or others recommend that they come and see you? Or are they, too, you're just hoping they're going to call that number or stop by?
All of it. We get many referrals from the courts, from schools, from teachers. But a good number of our referrals, Terry, come from word of mouth, friends who have benefited from our services telling other friends. We also get referrals from collaterals, other agencies that know the work that we do, and they refer clients to us. We have relationships with the state. We have contracts with the Metropolitan Human Services District, and we get referrals from them as well.
And that's something that's needed, because I'm sure there is a waiting list of people that really need to come and see you.
Yes.
And how is it determined? Is it just kind of a first come, or do you do assessments to find out who's in most dire need?
We do assessments, triage, to determine who is most in need of our services. And if there's an emergency, a very compelling situation, then those folks are often seen very quickly. Unfortunately, we can't see everybody who comes to us for services. We just don't have the resources. And Julie has come in, and she's done a great job raising money and also raising awareness about our organization, so that more people can understand the work that we do, the very important work that we do. Terry, oftentimes I tell people how relevant our work is. Many of us look at the news and we read the Metro section of the newspaper. The challenges and just the tragic situations that you read about or look at on a newspaper, oftentimes Family Service of Greater New Orleans, we're picking up the pieces. We're responding to those situations, rolling up our sleeves, working with clients, families, and children in their homes, in the same communities that many of us, don't want to go into. But we're there, and we're going to be there. That's been our commitment for 118 years, and we'll continue to serve families in an effort to make this a better community.
Now, Ron and Julie, and Ron, what you just mentioned, you're working with that individual. You'll go back into the communities.
Yeah.
But often people ask, and they wonder, well, a child or an individual, adult, doesn't matter, who has been a witness to crime or has been impacted by crime, they go right back to where the crime occurred. Is that healthy? What can be done? I mean, is it also about the community as a whole that needs to come together and heal, and that you have to reach out to others as well?
Well, the community, absolutely, the community as a whole have to kind of, join hands and support these families. But Terry, the families have no other place to go. That is their homes. And many of our children and families, unfortunately, live in communities that look sometimes like war zones. You hear, gunshots at night. You see a lot of situations on the streets that may not seem that they're appropriate for children and families, but families have no choice. And so we have to be there to support families in their everyday living. Many of our children and families live in deteriorating social conditions on a daily basis. And so we're there. We're there for those families. And so because, even though families live in these very horrible situations, all families have strengths. And we recognize those strengths, we build on those strengths, and we help families negotiate their own challenges so that they can be better prepared for the next thing that comes. So we really build the capacity of families to respond to their everyday situations.
One thing I wanted to ask about is I know you have anger management classes. And, some might smile or chuckle a little bit because they think of the television program that's out there. But it is no laughing matter. And not being able to control your anger is something that is going to hurt you. It's going to hurt others if it hasn't already. And often, isn't that one of the first preludes that we see that then gets into domestic violence?
Absolutely. Absolutely. An inability to manage anger and to manage emotions. We all have emotions and feelings. Sometimes individuals, both children and adults, have a very, very difficult time controlling their behavior, controlling their anger, and we have evidence-based programs to help them control their anger and to work toward resolving conflicts in a way that doesn't result in violence or, battering. That just has not been something that has served children well, and the literature, pretty much indicates that. And so we help families look at other ways of providing the kind of structure and limit setting that children need. But we also help adults through our domestic violence programs find other ways to deal with their frustrations and their anger so that they don't have to come to our agency as a mandate, that is, that they come to us or go to jail. We help them resolve those different difficulties and help them relate better to their significant other so that they won't find themselves in a violent situation.
And often when we think about a violent situation, we are talking hands laid upon someone.
Yes,
but
unfortunately. But there's
also the emotional
abuse.
And children, that can be so detrimental to any age group,
Terry,
actually.
I'm so glad you brought that up because children in domestic violence households, children witnessing this, they're very, very emotionally damaged. And they also need intervention. The other thing, unfortunately, is that much of the community violence that we see perpetrated by teenagers, it's just an example of modeling behaviors that they have seen in a home. And so to the extent that we address domestic violence, we're also basically preventing some of the community violence that we see here. So it's very, very important to get perpetrators in so that they can learn. We also have an evidence-based program. We use the Duluth model. It's 26 weeks of structured intervention in a group setting to help these men and women, mostly men, but men and women, learn other ways of relating to their significant other so that they won't end up in a violent situation.
Well, folks, anybody who's been listening today knows that Family Service of Greater New Orleans does a tremendous service to this entire region. And we are so proud as United Way to be a community impact partner with Family Service. I know that we are a part funder, but there's so much more that needs to be done. And again, perhaps let's close out the show. Julie, we've got that special gala that's coming up in October. Let's let the people know about it.
Yes, you can help all of these families and children. You can go to our website. Again, it's www.fsgno.org, and you can donate outright to the programs of Family Service, or you can attend our events in the gala on October 22nd. It's going to be a lovely dinner in the Botanical Gardens, and there'll be a silent auction, and we will be recognizing 10 very, very outstanding people this year. So I would like you to come out, purchase a ticket or a table, and help us recognize these individuals and support Family Service of Greater New Orleans.
Thank you so very much, Julie. And Ron, I think you have the last word today, about a minute or so to wrap us up again. The importance of Family Service of Greater New Orleans, the importance of getting the kind of counseling that one needs. It's just about reaching out.
Yeah, I guess the most important thing that I can say here today, Terry, is please, if you feel a need for support, call. Pick up the phone and make the call. Come see us. We're there for you. It's a real strength. It's not a weakness. Come and take care of your business. Unfortunately, we see so many situations, and recently the Robin Williams situation reminds me of a need to shout out to people to please come in and seek help. If you're feeling depressed, if you're not feeling good about situations, we're there to help you through the support of United Way and others, and we'll continue to be here. Come on out. Another shout out to First NBC Bank and Ashton Ryan for supporting our gala in a big way. But please, people, seek help. If not from Family Service, call 211 and you can get help from a number of sources.
And that's it. People should not be embarrassed. People should know that first step. How do we always talk about the first step of a long journey begins with that first step?
Right.
And here we are, Family Service, ready to help put this person's life back together, which in turn will help the family, help the community, help everyone. You do a fabulous job, folks. Ron, thank you so very much for joining us today.
Thank you so
Ron
much,
McLean,
Terry.
President and CEO of Family Service of Greater New Orleans. Also, Julie Pattison. Julie is the Director of Development for Family Service of Greater New Orleans. And one more time, if people want more information, the website is
www.fsgno.org.
Thank you, Ron. For United Way, I'm Terry Westerfield. Join me in saying, Live United.